Good evening, everybody, and welcome into another episode of Disney Dialogues. We just keep racking up the amazing, incredible guests. We are on an artist run with so many special creators. I hope you're enjoying it. I know I'm love sitting down doing this. We've seen some amazing art over the last couple months, and it just keeps rolling tonight. Beau Hufford's in house. We're going to talk with him in just a minute. You see Molly's logo up there tonight. Jen sends her wishes out. Just being straightforward, Jen was with her son at the baseball game. He has a game tonight. He's doing great, but the game's running a little long, and then there's traffic. So I'm not sure if she's going to make it. She's going to try to get in here towards the end, but if not, I know she's somewhere listening in. And again, condolences. I'm going to do my best. I'm always better when I have it's Jen and I together, but we're going to have some fun tonight nonetheless. So thank you for being here. Real quick hello to the chat, and then we're going to get rolling with our guest. Mike Klemovich, thank you for being here. Fred O'Malley, Vicky Gillespie, Debbie Bernfeld, hello. Dropping down, Mandy Mary, good to see you. Jason Thibodeau, hello. David T's in house, good to see you. Debbie Thuner, Julie McCowan, hello, hello, hello. Alex Miller, hello. Candy's in house, good to see you. Jennifer Caruso is in house, welcome, good. Miss Caruso, Regina Erie is in house. Boy, the friends are popping up today. A lot of good people showing up here for the show. Paul Engel in house, good to see you. Nathan Kendrick, hello, welcome in, friends. I'll try to get to more people on the way. There's Monorail Molly watching from the ball field. Jen, do what you got to do. Family first. Family first. We'll maybe listen to you, but you're here in spirit. Do me a favor, everybody. We're going to drop the links for our guest for Beau Hufford throughout the night, his Instagram, some of the website opportunities for you to purchase his work. Make sure you're following on Instagram. When our artists, as we've told you in the past, when the artists are out there and they can announce where they are, if it's in Disneyana or down at the festivals, they're going to highlight it on Instagram. It's the best way to know everything that's going on. So let's have some fun here tonight and talk a little bit. Before I go too much further, I want to show you something. And I know Jen's watching, and I always like to do this. Our artist tonight is amazing. Are you ready for this? Are you kidding me? Look, look at the screen. First off, the character variety that is available from Beau is incredible. I love the Muppets. You all know that. I'm an Orange Bird nut. These are incredible. Incredible. You could hang these right in your living room. You could highlight it in an accent room. You could have it in your hallway. It doesn't matter. Look at this. Are you kidding me? It's Figment. It's Figment. And it's a really good Figment. And then Jiminy Cricket right next to him. You never see really top quality Jimmy Cricket all the time. And then you tie it in with Mickey and Minnie, and then the Headless Horseman. Are you kidding me? I mean, are you feeling my flow tonight, guys? Because this is special. This Winnie the Pooh one, I'm going to ask Beau to talk about it a little bit later. It's amazing. There's something there with that Winnie the Pooh. I couldn't figure it out at the festival, and then when he told me, I was like, oh my god. I see it. So we're going to come back to this slide and we'll talk with our guests a little bit later because I want to highlight that one. It's really cool. It's what drew me to his work. And I was like, this artist is spectacular. Tinkerbell, come on, look at this. That is amazing for Seven Dwarfs. And just the creativity and the thought process behind it. Absolutely special. Muppets. You guys know how I feel about Muppets, and this is awesome. The colors pop. I love it on the black background. And then right next to it, I mean, Plain Crazy. How much? I mean, you don't see enough of Disney Follies and Plain Crazy and Steamboat Willie and the days back, of Oswald the Rabbit. This is awesome. And to get this content. So I'm excited. It's a good thing to see. And let's get in. Let me tell you a little bit more about our guest tonight. And I'm going to bring him in and we're going to get rocking here tonight. Again, I'll try to get to as many questions as I can in the chat, highlight myself at Pete McDivitt Show, and I'll try to get to them. Douglas, hello, Zippity Doo Doug. The zipper is in the house. All right, our guest tonight has dedicated over 20 years to education, serving both as a teacher and a talented caricature artist, bringing creativity, laughter, and lasting memories to countless students and families alike. Our guest has been featured at D23, showcased for multiple years at the Epcot Festival of the Arts, focused upon Stage 9 solo Tiki show, and brought their talent to the exclusive Promenade VIP show. He has designed countless brands of intellectual properties, including Devilicious, Culture Coffee, Kawaii Hawaii and Jankytown. Our guest is a graduate of Bowling Green University with a focus in design and photography. Wait till you see the photography, including an inspired period in the early 2000s where he studied photography in Italy. In addition to his artistic achievements, Beau is also a published author. In 2005, he released Famous Corpses, a unique caricature storybook that blends his signature style with storytelling flair. Guys, throughout his career, which has been amazing so far, and he's still on the precipice going up. Our guest has expanded into fine arts and licensing, creating dynamic artwork and iconic names such as for iconic names such as Pink Floyd, Jimi Hendrix, AC/DC, and Disney, just to name a few. Are you kidding me? Pink Floyd, Jimi Hendrix, AC/DC, and Disney. That is a crossed and wide variety. And man, you're talking about home run names. Our guest has also ventured into the world of comedy, contributing to the CW's Tonight in San Diego and launching the Riff City Comedy, a monthly stand up showcase featured at multiple venues. I love stand up comedy. It's one of the hardest things to do and one of the most rewarding up there. I love stand up comedy. It's our pleasure to sit down with someone whose talent is respected as much overseas as it here is in the States. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to the show for the first time, Mr. Beau Hufford with probably one of the best backgrounds anybody's ever had. How you doing, buddy?
Good, good. Thanks for having me, guys.
We're glad that you're here. Welcome into Main Street Nick and Lamons Gray. A lot of friends jumping in to talk with us today. We're going to have some fun. Guys, as we're going through, I want to remind everybody again, links are being dropped into the chat. Make sure you're following. He's got two Instagrams. Make sure you're following both. That's how the announcements come out when the shows are available. Throughout the hard camera shots tonight, like when I'm sitting with Beau, you're going to see multitude opportunities of his artwork and his creativity. His artistic talents are amazing. We're going to highlight a lot about him. So, without further ado, let's get into just a simple hello, simple, a little background about yourself, and then we'll kind of kick into some of the topics.
Sure. Sure. Well, first off, just so you know, you're in my bar right now. So if anybody needs a drink, just let me know. We can get that, try to email that to you.
I love that.
Yeah, my name my name is Beau Hufford, and I am an artist originally from Ohio, but currently residing in San Diego. I've been here for about 20 years now, so this is home.
I love it.
And I've just always been an artist, always been drawing since I was a kid. Never been another option. So yeah.
I
So
love it.
I'm excited to be at this point in my career where I get to jump into the world of Disney. I really enjoy that. So that's a
I'm
little bit
ex-
about me.
I'm excited to talk about all that because it's your journey and everything learning about you has been so interesting. And we're going to dig into that and talk about the art. I see
Awesome.
that also. Uh, Dave's Disney Dream came in and Shelby Spring came in. I have to tell you that my broadcasting partner Jen, who again, as I told you at the opening, sends her regards and apologies. I didn't tell her that you were from Ohio because she lives in Parma, or so I didn't
Oh
clue her
gosh,
in
I
on
live
it.
so close to Parma. I
Oh,
live
you
so
live so
close.
close to
I
Parma.
was in Aurora, which I'm sure
Okay.
she knows.
I guarantee you that she knows that. I'm sure that'll come back in here at some
Yeah,
point here. All right, let's talk about some of the fun stuff that we've got going here. And let's go over to here.
sure.
I want to start off by talking about illustrations. They're such a powerful way
Sure.
for artists to express emotion and story through your color and detail and line contrast. And yours just stands out. I love the incredible iconic characters and brands that you've represented. Can you share a little bit about the spirits and inspiration behind your illustration and kind of how you got into that?
Sure, absolutely. For me, drawing was always the beginning. I remember the very first drawings that I can actually remember having was there used to be these things called puffy stickers. I'm sure people remember them, but
Yeah.
I had Smurfs, and what I would do is I would draw a background on a piece of paper, and then I would be placing these Smurf puffy stickers to sort of create a world out
Okay.
of their illustration. And so, from a very early age, I just remember that I could do everything right here with a piece of paper and a pencil. I
Nice.
could create an entire world. And so illustration from the very beginning was a very important part of my growth because again, you don't need much, you
Right.
really don't, and you don't need the best pencils or the best paper, you just need something to draw with. So I really kind of fell into that and always try to challenge myself to look at uh, look at the things that were being made out there, for example, Big Boy or Mayor McCheese, and then how would I draw that in my way? How could I give a new spin,
Right.
a new energy or love to it? So illustration has always been a huge part of who I am. Yeah.
I'm always impressed. Welcome in T Marie's place. Uh, I'm always impressed when I sit here and look at something like we're looking at with these. And first off, these are iconic characters or I don't know, logos or, emblems, whatever you
Sure,
want to,
mascots,
every
yeah.
mascots, every company calls it different. I've dealt with so many companies where
Yeah.
I've said one word and they're like, no, it's a this. I'm like, okay. But here's
Yeah.
the key. The key is that these are iconic. And as I was blown away by these, I'm impressed with what comes out of your hand from your mind to your hand
Mhm.
to bring this up. I love how you did it. I mean, Punchy is, God, he's been around since as long as I can remember, and that is a totally
Yeah.
unique way of doing it. So I love your illustrations, and I'll tell everybody on the website, which we have dropping the link for the website in throughout the night on Beau's website. If you click onto it, you go into the illustration section. There is so many more to look at that you will be blown away with what he's done. I encourage everyone after the interview stop over and check that out. All right, let me drop down here and get to the third question of the night that I'd like to jump over to. When we look at your creative process, it's clear that you have a unique approach. One that removes you from the comparison and simultaneously kind of pushes the boundaries of what's expected. Would you be kind enough to share a bit about how you find inspiration and what drives you in your distinct creative path?
You know, uh, yeah, I know, I appreciate that. I would say that, well, again, I'm a huge Muppet head, so like you, like that's I can remember growing up. My dad had bought me a little piano, and I would play the Muppet
Muppet theme?
song as the show
Yes.
came on. That was, I mean, I wasn't actually playing, and I was just banging keys, but I do remember the Muppets being something that was so influential to my growth just as creatively. When I finally figured out that a Muppet was actually a puppet and that someone was underneath there, as a kid, your mind is like, wait, what?
What?
So that kind of like opened up a new world for me, which was, oh, there are real people behind this creating these amazing, ideas.
Right.
Um, and so, you know, I try to pull in what I want there to be in my work, if I can put it in there, is more than just an image. I want somewhat of a story, or at least something that people can like
Relate with.
look
Yeah.
at and talk about more than just like this is it, this is the image, that's all,
Right.
which there's nothing wrong with that. It's just for me, I need to be excited about my own work. I need to because it's a long process from sketch to approval to doing the work, finishing it up, and then getting out in the world, and then that's the first time anybody really sees it. So I
Right.
want to make sure that I'm wanting to discuss and talk and look at that piece for a long time, because someone's going to own it, or someone's going to have that image in their life. So I'm always trying to put something in there, some new idea that I haven't
Right.
seen before, some new technique I haven't seen, just to give it a little bit of extra interest, you know?
Well, looking at your Swedish chef here, that pops. Welcome in,
Sure,
Park Hopper Choppers. Thanks for joining. That pops, and I love that. So I'm gonna throw out a couple of quick softball ones to you that I got to ask you. First
sure.
off, favorite? Do you have a favorite Muppet, or is it just a multitude? For me, there's so many, I don't go, but I have like a top three or four.
I do have some that I really enjoy. Sometimes it's more about the design of the Muppet.
Okay.
Like, what's his name? New Zealand, the one that
Who's
throws the
throws
fish.
the
I
fish?
think he throws the
Yes.
fish. I love his design. It's so wacky and ridiculous. I love Sweetums, the big one. It's
The,
always like Hollywood,
oh,
they got the big
yes.
mouth. But I mean, they're all so like important to me. Like I could see any Muppet, and I have gone to the in Atlanta. There's a I think Center for Puppetry Art, and I
Uh huh.
saw a bunch of originals, and it was just unbelievable. I was like a little kid, so
Oh, I'm
I
sure.
just love everything about the
That sounds
Muppets.
amazing. So I got to ask you the key question that everybody's kind of talking about here. I know you're on the West Coast, but Muppets is shutting down out here. It's kind of a tough thing to
Yeah,
swallow. You know, it's
yeah. I think like I do believe that things may go away, but they come back. They always come back. So I believe that. Now it might not come back in the same capacity, but like I don't think the Muppets themselves are going anywhere, and I think there will be
Yeah.
a resurgence. And that's what you mentioned the Muppets, and I don't see a lot of artwork out there really representing. So that's one of the
No.
reasons I focused.
And one of
Yeah.
the things that I was so excited about with your artwork as I saw it, and we're going to talk about Kermit later, but so many others that you've gone through. I mean, that the one I showed at the beginning with all the Muppets with the black background and Dr. Teeth and all them
Mm,
there. You know, there isn't a
mm,
lot, and for you to bring that, I think it's fantastic. And you're right, they're going to do other things with the Muppets, and they're using them during the holidays and
yeah,
things. You know, it's just I think it's just so tough for all of us that have been there for so many years to think about that. You know, not being
for
there
sure,
and all that. So, but
for
okay.
sure.
All right, let's keep rolling here. We got a lot to cover here. I want to talk in
Sure.
2024. You were invited by Disney to participate in D23, the ultimate fan experience. I can't wait to do it. It's on my bucket list. Can you share what that encounter was like for you as an artist and what it meant to you to have your artwork featured at such a prestigious, beloved event?
Yeah. I mean, just to be completely transparent, I'm pretty new in the world of Disney fine art. I
Hmm.
was asked a couple of years ago to join. It is kind of a tight-knit group of people. There aren't like thousands of these people. So I was
Right.
very honored. And so to be invited to D23 it was just like otherworldly for me. I was, it's just right up the street from me. I'm in San Diego, it's in Anaheim. So it's only an hour and a half away.
Nice.
Um, but I was just like, first day of class kind of feeling, sort of like, oh my gosh, should I be here? Like, there's masters are here, and
Right.
it's every fan you can think of is like dying to go, and I'm being asked to be there. So I was very humbled by it. And the other artists in the world of Disney fine art, they're so great. They're so good to each other. And so it is like a family situation. And I just went in with the idea that I'm going to meet some fans. I'm going to be able to showcase the artwork that I'd never been able to do before.
Right.
And just I don't care if I sell a thing. All I care about is like, am I engaging? What am I hearing? How will this inspire me, sort of thing.
I
And
love
that's
it.
what I try to do with every show. I never think about how I'm trying to sell. I'm always thinking about how I can engage with people, and I've met some pretty fantastic people.
I
Everyone's
love
really
that.
good, really positive. Yeah.
Well, and these, we talked about Muppets. These pieces right there with Statler and
Mm.
Waldorf, and of course Beaker and Doctor Honeydew, Doctor Bunsen Honeydew. I love
Yeah.
them. I thought these are great. Of course, Stitch. Everybody's loving Stitch. While we're talking about pieces for a second, I want to go back up to that one that I was talking about. Now, I've got to bring Bo
Sure.
into the picture here because I didn't have. This is one of those things where you do production on the site here. So I'm going to bring Bo in here with us. Here, I'll put you over top of our logo.
Nice.
Okay, so here's the thing. I absolutely when I found Bo, welcome in Plymouth Rock, and also I saw who else came. Someone else came. Rob Law, welcome in. Great to see y'all tonight. When I found Bo, Casey and Preston were with me, and we were coming up around the edge. We were going into the shops, and from a distance, I could see this piece with Winnie the Pooh jumping out at me from probably 100 yards away. I couldn't believe. I was like, "Whoa! Look at the color!" And I turned to Casey, who's one of our executive producers, and I said, "I want to stop and talk to this artist if he's there." So I was looking at this piece of art. Did I threw it out there at the beginning? I don't know if anybody's figured this out, but I couldn't until he told me. Bo, tell everybody a little bit about this piece and what it all means.
Sure. This is kind of like what I said earlier. I like to do something in a little bit different way that maybe you don't get in the very beginning. But each color in this painting behind Pooh is a representation of a different character from the Winnie the Pooh and Friends. So you've got Tigger there, you've got Owl and Eeyore, you've got Kanga and Roo. You've got all these characters back there. And for me, it was important that you know someone who would put this in their house probably wants to have that conversation. Like, oh,
Yes.
look at this. Pooh's face isn't even in it, but like this
Right.
represents all characters, including Pooh. And that excites me. That excites me so much to feel like maybe there's something fresh here that someone has never seen.
Debbie
So
says it feels like she could
yeah,
reach out and touch it because of the colors. It's absolutely awesome. Again, these are two of the pieces
hmm,
like the
thanks.
Tweedledee Tweedledum. If you didn't pick up on it, I didn't see this at first. I was sitting there and Preston actually said, "Dad, do you realize it says D and dumb and they're their eyes?" And I was like, "Oh wow!" I was like, "That's pretty cool." So again, Beau Hufford's work and uniquity in everything. It's why I love it and why I'm glad that he's here joining us tonight. Beau, I want to take a step out of art for a second and talk about comedy. I'm a huge
Sure.
fan of stand-up comedy. I used to
Yeah, me
in
too.
younger days go to the comedy store down in Baltimore all the time. I remember I saw Drew Carey on like his third time being out when he
Oh,
years ago when he
nice.
was doing stand-up.
That's
So
exciting.
yeah, for me it is. I love it. So the world of stand-up comedy, for those who don't know, Drew's into the world of stand-up comedy and supporting those who perform as comedians has clearly become a central and important focus, in your life, I believe. Could you take a few moments to
Sure.
share about how this journey involved for you and what role comedy plays in your life?
Sure. Yeah. Well, honestly, I've always loved comedy so much, and I'm also a true believer that if there's a thing you want to do, sometimes you've got to create that thing. If
Right,
it's not out there, a lot of my friends here in San Diego will be like, "There's no culture here, there's no art scene here, this kind of thing." I'm like, "Yeah, you got to create it. It's your
right,
job." And of course, it'd be great to walk into any city and any place and be like, oh, there's already this huge amount of people getting together that are artists. But sometimes you have to be the one to create it. And so for me, um, I personally think that stand-up comedy clubs can sometimes be a little off-putting because they're like 2 drink minimum, get out of here, we got to flip the
right.
show. It's like sometimes not great for the customer. And so I was like working on a TV show, writing comedy at the time, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start my own I'm gonna start my own comedy show here in town at a local bar that
Love
was
it.
perfect for comedy. And so me and this other guy did it. But the reason
Okay.
I say you gotta create your own job is because I was like, well, somebody's got to do these posters. And so I was like, all right, I got a new job. I got to do a poster every month for, we're talking 6 years. Every month
Right.
I was trying to come up with some new, interesting, clever, concept or illustration. And so sometimes it's ridiculous and sometimes I would use more photo work and sometimes I'd be trying to tell a story, sometimes it'd just be something that looks cool.
Yeah.
But what it did is it created that job for me, like it created the sort of like I was forced to go to the gym, you know what I
Okay.
mean,
Yeah.
kind of every
Absolutely.
month I had to do it, so it was kind of nice.
And
And then
over.
you can see that's the stage that up in the top left corner. That's the stage with the logo on it. And
Right.
that's every comedian I had come down who headlined, they would sign it. And we've had some huge people. Taylor Tomlinson, who right now is on a late night show.
Is on a late
She's
night show.
the young lady that's on the late night show after Colbert. She's been down a couple times to do my show. And we've had a
Nice.
lot of great people. Yeah.
So the cool thing is, again, we're dropping the links for the website throughout the night into the chat. They're also
Mm.
posted. If you're watching the replay, you can get to them right in the description of this video today. If you go in there and click, there's so many more great stand-up posters, and I'll say there's some that I did want to show that were absolutely incredible, incredible. I was
Mm.
drawn into it. I was like, oh my god, these are so great. But I didn't need to get Tina Marie all fired up in here and get her going. So go over, check out the website. You'll absolutely
Yeah.
love it. Let me just off the wall questions. I like doing them every now and then
Sure.
with my guests. If you had to pick one stand up comedian to come and sit in front of you and do it, do you got one?
I mean, right now he might not be very well known, but I really love Rory Scovel.
Oh,
He's got a new special I think on Netflix, but I really love him. And then, gosh, I mean, I think if money was no object, I mean, to have Seinfeld do any show would be pretty amazing. He's just
yeah,
a pro. I've seen him live, and it's like you can really tell the difference between a comedian and a professional comedian, and he
right.
just knows how to do it. Just
Yeah,
knows how to do it.
I agree with that. I've never seen Seinfeld. I would have loved to have seen him. I saw this one guy that came out on an opening for Larry the Cable Guy one time. And
Mm,
I think he was just really green, and you could the flow wasn't there, the transition wasn't there,
hmm.
the reading the room of knowing when to pulse and when that type of and then Larry came
Yeah.
out and just Larry came out and just bam. So, but yeah,
Larry probably did that on purpose. He probably does that on purpose because by the time you get to Larry, everyone's like, he's amazing. So, you know, well,
maybe,
that's
maybe.
cool.
I saw,
It's tough. I got to tell you, imagine doing your job in front of people every day of your life, just like really in front of people like that, where everyone's
yeah.
just watching you. It's pretty intense.
It's comedy clubs are great. If you ever have a chance to do them, they're a great place to go with some of your friends
Mm,
and just get some drinks
for
and just
sure.
sit back and have a great time. So love that you're doing all of this with your comedy
Thanks.
stuff that you're doing. I think it's great. Uh, you've won multiple awards for your artwork over the years through the International Society of Caricature Artists, and also
Mm,
you serve as the creative director for Caricature Japan, which I didn't know a ton
yeah,
about when I was starting to do this. Could you share with our audience just a bit about both of these organizations and what, they mean to
sure.
you personally and professionally?
Absolutely. I mean, to be honest, my first art job that I ever had was as a caricature artist at Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio.
I know exactly where it is.
I'm sure some people will know what that is. I
Yeah.
got hired out of college to draw, and the characters is you're drawing people's faces live. And
Right.
back then, it was a great job because it was based on commission. And so if I drew a bunch, I made a bunch. If I didn't draw anything and it rained, I
Ah,
didn't make anything. And that was
right.
back when the law wasn't on my side in that way, when
Yes.
so anyway though, I did that there for one summer, and then for 2 summers I came out here to San Diego to work at SeaWorld. And that turned into a job where I actually managed and hired artists all over the country to work at theme parks. And
Oh,
so
wow.
I was in Six Flags of Ohio, which is up there by Parma. I
Uh-huh.
was in New Jersey at Great Adventure, managing out there. And then I landed at SeaWorld San Diego here in town and helped manage artists at the zoo, Wild
Wow.
Animal Park, Legoland, Disneyland. We had operations. That company was a separate company. We had operations in 40 or 50 theme parks in the country. So
Wow.
I ended up getting really into caricatures.
Okay.
And there's a whole community. Like I said, the International Society of Artists, which is ISCA, they have
Okay.
a great organization that brings people together from all over the world. We have competitions once a year. It
Nice.
goes to a different city every year. And so, yeah, you can win. You can kind of, I guess, win awards, but that's not really the main focus for me. It's just being in a room full of artists who are trying to do their craft,
Right.
And so after doing it that way, or doing that job for quite a few years, a company in Japan found me and said, "Hey, we love what you did in the States. We'd like to hire you to come on our company and help us do what you did there here." And
Wow.
so every 3 or 4 months, I go to Japan and help them with interior design, building morale for employees, right down to branding of the company and new
That's
ideas
cool.
for product and that kind of thing.
That's
Yeah.
really cool. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
And I love that you've been recognized for doing that. I think it's again, one of the things that Jen always says, and I always, I love being able to reference some of her key points that she's brought up on these interviews. She talks about how all these interviews are kind of like an onion. As we sit down with guests like yourself, you sit down thinking, "Oh, we're going to talk to a Disney artist because we went to a festival and
Sure.
saw a picture of Kermit and said, 'Hey, would you like to talk?'" And but
Yeah.
then it ends up being this amazing onion of artistry and talent that comes out. And here, with our guests tonight, everybody, we've already talked about illustrations. Now we're talking about character artistry. We're talking about stand-up comedy. We ain't even touched it yet. We're still moving along. So this is great stuff. I love that. Love that. All right, let's talk about this. In November of 2023, you announced that you were
Mm,
officially one of the Disney Fine Artists with the collector's editions, which I love that they selected you, along with so many others that we've
thank
had
you.
here already, and so many that we're going to have hopefully in the future. It's an incredible milestone that opened doors for you and brought meaningful interactions, including with a legend like the man on the screen, Don Ducky Williams. Could you share with our
Yeah.
audience what this achievement has meant to you personally and professionally?
You know, I was asked to go down to Festival of the Arts and
Mhm,
set up with Promenade Galleries.
mhm.
And of course, what a great honor. And when I got there, they had all my artwork set up. I was really excited. And that's actually where I met you. And so as I look across, and I'm talking like 15 feet away, the person in the booth across from me with Promenade as well, was Don Ducky Williams. And I was like, what in the, you know,
Right,
I'm in the same space as Don Williams, which was just, I mean, he's just a legend. And to be honest, it's sometimes scary to meet people that you know their work and you haven't met the person yet because
right.
sometimes people's personas are a little different than what you imagine, and that's
Absolutely.
okay. um, some people, especially artists, just want to be alone in their studio and not really be out with people, but Don is so giving, so wonderful, so charming, has great stories, is just an absolute nice guy. And so I just fell in love immediately. I was with Tim Rogerson too. I don't know if you know
Wow.
Tim, but
Yes, I've heard.
Tim's
I don't know Tim,
unbelievable.
but I know of Tim.
Yeah, Tim is a great guy, and so I had been hanging out with him the whole week, and then he's like, "You got to just hang out with Don and listen to his stories. It's unbelievable." So
And that's one
I
of his
just
pieces,
had a great
everybody.
time.
Up in the left-hand corner, that's actually one of Don's pieces there. I wanted to throw
Yeah,
that in because I thought that was absolutely amazing. So, if you get the chance
yeah,
to
he's
talk to these
great.
people, sometimes it's good to just tap them on the shoulder because the stories that come out can just blow you away, and it's the part that I always love as well. Well, speaking of
Yeah,
inspirations, let's talk about yours a little bit. Some of the inspirations that you've acknowledged are visionaries like Jim Henson and Andy Warhol, Steve Jobs, and Mary Blair, to name a few. Truly, they challenge the way the world looks, at art and creativity. How have these individuals
yeah.
helped you shape your perspective and growth as an artist?
I think I'm really attracted to disruptors. I love people who sort of look at the world and say, how can I change the way we do things,
Hmm.
and not take no for an answer. And I don't mean that in a rude way. I just mean in a way of like, you know, making people look at the world differently by showing them what it can be. So
Right,
I think I'm definitely more in tune with Jim Henson or Mary Blair, but I'm in awe of people like Steve Jobs and Warhol's ability to just change an entire, change art forever.
right.
So
Their
that's pretty
inspirations
amazing.
can be seen around Disney.
Yeah,
Some in multiple
yeah.
locations, some in just a few, but it's incredible. There's a great people to be inspired by, and I love that list and many others that you have talked about through your time. An artist navigating today's digital world. And I want to kind of talk
Hmm.
about that for a second as we go over here. Navigating today's digital world, social media plays such a big role. Here we are tonight on
Mm.
social media talking to promote your work and sharing your creative journey, and that's kind of what I'm hoping everybody's feeling tonight is the story of our guest and buying in to who Beau is. Can you talk about your goals when it comes to social media, some of the challenges you faced,
Sure.
and the benefits it's brought with your artistic adventures?
Sure. Well, my goal is to get better at it. I'll tell you that because as I grow older, I find that I don't have much interest in uh, I'm uncomfortable with compliments, and that's something that I'm trying to get over. It's just a part of who I am, and so social media sometimes brings out this like uncomfortable part
Hmm.
because I'm posting something, and without fail, people are saying nice things, and I appreciate that, but it makes me uncomfortable that I'm like asking for that, and I
Yeah.
don't want to ask. So it's like social media. Sometimes I get really bad, and I mean you can see it. Like I'll post, and then it'll be 2 months, and I'll post again, and I'm trying to get better at that. I think in the end, I just really need to hire someone to help me like manage some of that because I like getting into my studio and working and dreaming and drawing. And so at the end of the day, I'm not thinking like, oh, I gotta post this.
Right.
So I need to get better about it. But it's no doubt a great connection between me and the viewer, me and the collector,
Right.
and that's just such an important part. So I am working on that. But I think maybe it's partly my age and how I grew up before cell phones, before social media, that I'm still having to like remind myself to do it.
It's tough, especially when you're at these festivals and things are going so quick, and you are doing a bunch while you're there too. But when you sit there and also think about, okay, you're taking all these pictures with people that are buying my art or purchasing my art,
Hmm.
either getting your picture yourself or making sure that they tag you with that picture so that you
Yeah.
can get it out there more. People loves That's one thing since doing these interviews, Bo, that I found is people out there that are watching like the Instas and the
Hmm.
the threads and even X and Facebook, they love seeing the pictures of people with the
For
artists.
sure.
And I've noticed that the smiles that come out of these people is
Yeah.
unbelievable. So that's definitely cool. Okay. Interesting as we go through. All right, let's talk about this. This is an amazing piece, guys.
Sure.
We all love the Muppets. You guys know we're all Muppet lovers over here. You created a piece called Frog Legs, which I didn't know that was the name of it
Mm.
until I did the research with you. I just called it Kermit, featuring Kermit the Frog for the Festival of the Arts, and the response was truly
So,
incredible, including this is amazing, guys, including a personal video made by a collector who was deeply moved by your work. Could you share a little story about this piece, and if you would be so kind, a little bit about that video and what that moment meant to you as an
sure.
artist?
You know, this is one of those moments where many times I do artwork and then Disney sort of says, okay, this is what we're going to feature at D23 or whatever. And they give me some freedom. It's not locked in or anything. But this year I was like so adamant. It's like, I really want this piece to be available for print, available there. And so they trusted me and said, absolutely. But day one, we sold out of the prints. And so immediately it was like, whoa, 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 what's going on here? So, like, people's response to not only Kermit, but this version of Kermit, this idea of him in cowboy boots, just people loved it. And I'm channeling a little bit of my love for Warhol here and his Elvis and all his different multiples. So
Right. Yeah, I
again,
can
I'm
see
just trying to
that.
show something, yes, show something that you've seen in a different way that you'll be like, wow, I love this take. And so I had somebody who was an Instagram influencer or a social media influencer. She saw it, made a video, sort of reenacting that part in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where they're in the art gallery,
In
and
the
then
art
the
gallery.
video goes from the art to Cameron, the art to the Cameron, art, and did it with my piece in the park. Just put it out there, and next thing you know, it's like I'm getting all these likes. It was crazy. So again, we just talked about social media, and that was one of those moments where I realized, like, okay, there's really something here. You could talk to a lot of people in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
But boy, I was humbled, deeply humbled. I was like, oh, thank you so much. Like, anybody who like likes something that you've done is it feels great. It feels great to hear it. And
I
not when they're saying it to their face sometimes, because it's almost like more authentic when
mhm.
people are saying it to each other.
Well, I think with the social media opportunities now, especially for you with being a Disney fine artist and featured at,
Mm.
Festival of the Arts and D23 and maybe, with Disneyana, hopefully more with that in the future as it goes on.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people that can't get there that live
right.
vicariously through that social media. And then to have the opportunity to purchase your art, much like we have, Debbie's dropping the links for all the ways for you to find Beau's art tonight. We're going to talk about that at the end. It's a great opportunity for
Mm.
you to still maybe sell your product to somebody in Japan who loves Kermit the Frog and would be
Sure.
able to get your piece. So I love that aspect of it. This is a great piece, and I can't wait to see what's going to
Thank
come
you.
in the future with that. So, all right,
Yeah.
let's go over here and I wanted to, we talked about the festival there. You have had the blessing to interact directly with those purchasing your art at the Festival of the Arts. I personally witnessed that. Have How have these experiences at these and conversations with these Disney fans impacted you as an artist? And what have you taken away from these moments? Are they driving you to do more because your variety is incredible?
Mm. Yeah, so that's a great question. When I first started, I didn't really know what was going to stick. I had a couple ideas and I thought like, hey, I want to try some stuff. And Disney was really open to me, doing some geometric pieces as you've seen, and doing
Yes,
some kind of straightforward, and then doing some Warholian looking stuff, and the new Mickey, the old Mickey. And then another thing that was a big interest in me is doing the unsung heroes of Disney, the
the
characters
unsung
you
heroes.
don't always see.
Yes, I love that.
And so I'm always trying to show that's what excites me. I always get excited when I see something. Oh, I haven't seen that character on anything. That's amazing. There's not enough Sword in the Stone, or there's not enough, this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, what was great is to have a gallery. with thousands of people every day walk by and say, "Oh my God, I love that," or "Oh my
Right.
God, you did this," and it made me go, "Okay, people are really responding to this sort of thing, or they really love this character." And of course, people love Mickey and Minnie. I mean, how can you not? But like when someone says, "Oh, I love the rabbit from Alice. That's my favorite character," and you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh wow, really?" There's not maybe not enough of that. So I get to hear firsthand what people's loves are, what they're attracted to, what they're connecting with. And so, in many ways, when someone comes up like you and says, "Oh, Muppets are my thing," I'm like, "We're friends already. It's over. Like, you and I are going to be fine."
Yeah.
Because how can you like the Muppets and not be cool? So, it really helps me in that way to
Uh,
really engage in a way that you probably can't.
our friend says from Park Hopper Choppers, Chris says, I just love Sweethearts. Absolutely loves
Mm,
that one there. Uh,
that's
I, I,
great.
I,
Awesome.
one,
Thank you.
one of the things I love too was, just your generosity and your time when you were down there. Guys, if you're at the festival and you're looking for a great piece of art, Beau was so generous with his time to spend and talk with us and spend a few minutes with us there that the interactions with artists down there that want to sit and talk with the people that follow them, man, it's a
Mhm.
great thing. So I highly recommend that. And I'll throw out an odd character to you.
Please.
I'll throw out a good one. Baby Herman from Roger Rabbit.
Oh, let me tell you something. Roger Rabbit is a huge that was when I got a paper route as a kid. That
Okay.
was my first job at like 12, and I saved up all my money and I bought the video cassette of Roger Rabbit, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and it cost way too much because back then video tapes
35,
weren't
$40 back
readily,
then.
yeah, $50. I remember being 45 or $50, and I wore that tape out. I
So did I.
love Roger Rabbit.
So
So that's a big one. My only problem is they currently do not allow the license of Roger Rabbit through Disney Fine Art, which makes me
oh,
cry.
that
But it's
stinks.
just currently not available to me to do. And there
I hope
must
that
be some kind of
changes.
licensing between something.
So that is
So
that's one of my favorite
otherwise,
movies.
yeah,
I wore that video out
yeah,
too. I actually have, believe it or
yeah.
not, so Jen, who unfortunately said couldn't be here tonight, but I know she's listening as she's trying to get home. She's a little bit of an artist herself and working on it. I actually have
Nice.
up above me, unfortunately, you can't see it right now. I have a Roger Rabbit and a Jessica Rabbit that she painted for me, which are,
Oh,
two things because
nice.
of my characters that I love, which are really cool. But one of the first interviews that Jen and I did was Gary Wolf, the creator of Roger Rabbit. We sat down with him
Oh,
for an
wow.
hour, and I'm
That's
telling you,
amazing.
as a Roger Rabbit nut, it was incredible to listen to the story of how Roger came to fruition. Really cool. So, and
That's
for
awesome.
anybody who's listening, that is in our playlist. You can go back and listen to the Gary Wolf interview. All of our links for our guests tonight for Beau Hufford are being dropped into the chat. Debbie and Jeannie are doing a great job tonight and dropping all the links. We're going to talk about all that availability tonight in just a few minutes. Make sure you're locking it up and getting it on your focus point right now so you're good to go. Let's jump over to here. Go back to a hard cam for a second. As a Disney fine artist, there are three attributes that seem to play a key role in your journey: reaching and inspiring young artists, the kindness and support of collectors, and the special bond you share with your fellow artists. And
Mm,
I actually let my guest know tonight some nice comments that were actually said by one of his fellow artists on a previous interview backstage. Would you mind, Beau, for a minute, just sharing your thoughts on how each of these three topics they've
sure.
impacted your work and your experience as an artist?
Community is such an important thing in everything we do. It's
Mhm.
it's really great, and that could be online community, and I'm sure a lot of people here feel that even through this podcast. It's like having people that you can discuss ideas or excitement for something. That's a really important thing. And that's what I get from all three of those categories that you just spoke of.
Mhm.
Working with young artists, I mean, the future, there were artists that were nice to me as a kid and said, "Oh, just do this or do that or keep practicing," that kind of thing. it's so much gasoline that gets put in your tank just by somebody who's doing the thing that you dream to do, telling you like, yeah, I used to be just like you. I used to just
Right.
be a kid or just be a person who wanted to be an artist, but I hadn't taken that jump. So it's important to have those conversations. It's important for people to talk to their favorite artist, and engage with them. And uh, so that's really important with young people. As far as collectors go, I mean, like I said, it's been such a joy to get to know people who have been so kind to me. I
Hmm.
had a person who had bought a piece of my work. I just wanted to, I always said, really like to get to know you a little bit more. I know there's not a lot of time when you're in the park and you got other things to do, but like, I want to know where my babies are going to live. These are my
Right.
art pieces of art that I
Right.
created. I'd love to know that this is gonna, if you get a chance, I always say, if you get a chance to take a photo, send it to me where you hang it. I'd love to see it in your world.
Love it.
That's a big thing. That's a big thing for me. But people have been so nice. One collector was like, "Hey, if you ever want to go to Club 33, let me know." I'm like, "Of course I want to
Of
go." And he's
course
like,
you
"Well,
want.
let's go right now." And then next thing you know, within 10 minutes, we're sitting in Club 33, and he just did that out of the goodness of his interest in me. And I thought like, wow, for me, it's like, I want to now pay that to the next person. When I
Right.
have
I
an
love it
opportunity, I want to keep in mind that to giving back is such an important part
very
of
much.
doing art. And then being around other artists, I mean, yeah, there's no room for me, no room for negativity against other artists. I just feel like there's room for everybody. We're all trying to do the same thing and not trying to do the same thing at all. So
Right.
there's plenty of room for everybody. I feel that in all competition. I just think like, if someone who's going to want my frog legs doesn't want probably the same thing that another artist is doing, and there's room for everybody. That's how I
I
feel.
love that. I love that. That's a great attitude to have, and part of the reason I think you've been blessed with so much success is your level of positivity and
I
support
appreciate that.
for those in the community. So I kind of want to take a step back for a second to talk about something. I know you're not as actively involved with anymore, but I think it was really a big part of what you did and kind of telling your entire story. The podcast that you did, the Campfire
Mm.
SHT show with your co-host who was Meryl Clemell. Uh, that had gained great success and even featured incredible guests like pictured here, Funko founder Michael Becker. I mean, that's a guest,
Mm.
that's a powerful guest.
Mm.
Shows you how successful your podcast was. Could you share just a little bit about that time in your life with the podcast, kind of its vibes? And
Sure.
I'm sure it's still out there, a multimedia cast. You can find it out there and
Yeah.
listen to it.
Yeah, at the time, this was another thing that came out of the TV show I was working on. I started a comedy show, and then with another person, Meryl, I really wanted to uh, start a space that I could creatively share stories. I love talking with people about. I'm always asking questions to people around me. When I go to a new city, I'm always going down the dark alley to the weird neon sign to see what that bar or restaurant is.
Right.
Sitting at the bar and talking to strangers, I love that. Um, and it always turns into a great story. So I thought in this world, I was seeing on social media everyone talking about their perfect life, their perfect husband or wife, their kids.
Hmm.
Everything was beautiful, perfect, perfect. And I was like, it ain't always like that. So
No, it's not.
I thought, what if we talked about the SHT of life,
Yes.
all those moments where things didn't go right. Things weren't perfect. And we had guests on who could tell us how they got where they are, and when things went wrong, what did they do? And it's a very funny, comforting way to go like, we're all human. We all fall on our face sometimes. We all
Wow.
do ridiculous, silly, stupid things. So
Is podcasting
that's
something
kind of
you
where that came from.
Is podcasting something you could potentially revisit in the future?
Oh, I think so for sure. I mean, I think I really enjoyed that. I just had to make a decision. My scales were kind of doing
Yeah.
this thing, and I had to
Right.
decide like when became a Disney artist, I was like, all right, I have to focus
Right.
my
Your time on
time
that
and my energy. Like where am I being creative and making sure I'm not burnt out all the time. So
and paying the
uh
bills. big
I
time.
kind of,
That's
yeah,
something too.
I kind of made a promise to myself. I said in January, the year before I became a Disney artist, I'm going to become a Disney artist. And then I just set out to do that. And when I did that goal for myself, I quit my podcast. I pulled back on the comedy show a little bit. I just had to focus my time.
I love it.
And then I got it. And so it was like, okay, it was worth it. So
And it's, and where it can
yeah.
lead to,
I-
who knows where this all can lead to. This is,
Yeah.
I
But
think your journey is still going.
I
So
love podcasting and I would definitely return. I would
love it.
definitely
Love it.
revisit.
Well, let's talk about a whole nother aspect. And Nanny Pooh Bear, welcome in. Let's talk about a whole nother aspect of your life, and that is,
Sure.
earlier this show at the beginning of the opening, I touched for a minute on your college focus in photography and the time you spent studying in
Mm,
Italy. Could you share with our audience what drives your passion for photography and what you enjoy most about this captivating the world through a lens?
sure. Like I said before, it's a little bit of everything coming together. It's storytelling,
Hmm.
it's understanding your tools, understanding your craft in a way that like you have to be ready at all times to catch that moment. And to me, that's so exciting to catch a moment that will never be caught again. Not exactly as it is, you know?
Right.
It's sort of like if you think about a cloud in the sky and you look up and like, hey, that looks like a rabbit, right? If you think about that, I think about ideas like this. Oh, that looks like a rabbit. Well, if you wait 5 minutes, it's not going to look like a rabbit anymore. So
Right.
there's a moment in time where, whether it's an idea or an actual photograph image, that you can catch it and only you can catch it in that way. And that is a very exciting thing.
That's very
So
cool.
for photography, I loved the storytelling of it. And sometimes, like even in these examples here, on the right with the Funko bar. That's what I was working with Michael Becker, and he had me take behind the scenes photos. And so they had this guy dressed up, and I said, "Oh, wouldn't it be great if I had him sit down beside some cases of drinks, like he's just on his break to
Like
having
he's on his
tea,
break.
but that but everything's towering over him." But then on the bottom left of this photo, that's a guy who's sleeping on the street in Japan because he'd had too much to drink. Again, it's such an interesting way. No one's going to bother him because that's the way Japan is. They're not going to steal anything or rob. But like, I just love these kinds of moments, and so I have
It's
lots and lots of photos.
Yeah, oh, yeah, and,
Yeah,
guys, over on his website, and through his Instagram, I highly recommend you taking the time. There was so many photos over there that I could have done 10 to 12 slides easily, and I had a lot of trouble picking out which ones I wanted, because of that, but like I said, take some time. You got the links and all, we're gonna talk about that here in just a minute. So I love all the photography. Well, let's jump over
thanks
for
so
a
much.
second. I wanna highlight these before we tidy things up because we're coming up to that top of the
Sure.
hour. I want to remind everybody that you can find everything you want to find out over on his website. There's a whole bio section, discovery, and you can get into the posters are over there. Some of the faces he was talking about. It's a lot of stuff for you to dig into over his website. Debbie and Jeannie have been dropping website links all night, so you can go over there and do that. He has his own personal Instagram with almost 1,900 followers over there, where you can keep up with Beau and everything that's going on. And he also has one for lowercase I, which is a lot of his street fashion, abstract photography. The world is all original. You want to keep up. If Beau's going to be out and doing anything along the Disney front, I know it'll be posted on Instagram. And hopefully, much like our previous artists, there'll be a time coming, probably December, January, where maybe, maybe actually I should say November, December, where we're hearing from Beau saying, "Hey, I'll be at Festival of the Arts at this time, this place, and you can come check out his time there and meet him personally." Beau can be found on the Disney Store. You can find a lot of his pieces over there. I love Beaker and Honeydew right there. And of course, the Muppets one, you guys have heard everything. I've been talking about that one tonight. You can find it over on the Disney Store here. And you can find Beau also at the Disney Fine Art. There's Kermit. You can get Kermit and get some of these fine wrapped and done around to hang on your walls, like the many I have here in my home. Also, you can find him on the Stage 9 with Beau Hufford and a lot of work over there as well. Again, all the links have been dropped into the chat throughout the night. If you're having trouble finding Beau, he does have a link tree that you can find on his Instagram and many other places that can take you directly to all the spots that are available there. And we have the link tree link in there as well. Beau, as we would do things here on the show, we always try to finish things up with a final thought of the night as we go through. And guys, don't go
Oh
anywhere because
boy.
I got a special announcement coming here in just a minute as well. As I always do every show, I got a surprise at the end. Beau, for you, final thought of the night from tonight.
Boy, final thought. That seems so official. I would just say, I've said pretty much everything the way I feel and believe about, keeping open and always having a dialogue with people. Um, One thing that I live by, sort of my motto, a great friend of mine told me one time, and I try to live by this, but he said, good enough isn't good enough when you dream of being great. And I always have that in my back pocket of when I'm
Very
doing
nice.
something, I'm trying to think about how can I take that experience just a little further, a little
Right.
further. Like I want people to look at something that I'm part of, whether it's this bar or a piece of artwork or a comedy show, and be like, wow, he thought of everything. That's really cool that this experience was something more than just what I thought it was going to be.
Right.
So,
I love
yeah,
that.
that's what I would leave with.
Love that. Love that. I'm going to tidy things up with a couple different things real quick. One, I want to first thank you for taking the time to give us a chance to come over to sit down on dialogues and have a dialogue about you and your career and where you're going. I truly believe you are just on the start of your precipice and where you're going to go, and I can't wait to see what the
Thank you.
next years bring from your artistry and your efforts of all of your creativity. Two, I want to tell everybody something that, as I've done on the last couple artists, I will be working to acquire a piece of our artist work tonight and put that into our upcoming charity that we're going to do to raise money for the Semper Fi in America's Fund. We've gotten some great pieces. We'll get one with Beau, and we'll make sure that that's in either the June or the August event. We're excited about that. I know you guys love doing that. I can't stress enough, if you're going down to Festival of Arts next year and you hear what week Beau's there, stop in, check out, buy a piece of his art, get it
Please.
signed, and hang it on your wall. You won't go wrong. Want to again acknowledge Jen. She'll be back hopefully with our next interview. She was where she needed to be with her son tonight. She was missed, but she was here in spirit all along the way with her logo and all the way around. Your art. I've seen a lot of great comments in the chat throughout the night, and I hope you get a chance to go back and
Oh,
read
thanks.
through that. Your art
Yeah.
is inspiring, Beau. It's bright, it's colorful, it's engaging, it tells a story through what you're trying to tell as an artist, but it also can take us back to a time when we were kids, when things were a little bit easier, when we were just sitting eating a bowl of ice cream, watching the Muppet Show on a Thursday evening, which is a fantastic
Yeah.
thing. But also, I think you should know that I thoroughly believe, from looking at your art and all the stuff that I did to prepare for this interview with Jen, your art, when people see it in their homes, is also putting a smile on their face when they walk by
Mm.
it, when they get up in the morning and maybe they're a little late for work, but yet they walk by your piece, it puts a smile on their face. When they've had that long day from work and they've come home and they're sitting relaxing, when they're missing Disney or whatever it be, it's putting a smile on people's faces. And I encourage you to please keep painting and keep doing what you're doing, because there's a lot of smiles that you've created already and so many more to come in the future. So
Thanks.
you
That's very kind. I appreciate that.
Mhm. You've been an awesome guest. Hang tight for a minute. I'm going to say a quick goodbye to
Sure.
all of the peeps, and then I'll be back and we can chat for just a second before we say goodnight.
Great.
Guys, it's been another
Thanks.
dialogue. Absolutely. It's been another dialogues that has been an incredible conversation with a masterful artist that does so many different varieties and brings you the magic to your home when you can't be at Disney. I hope you'll take the time to check out all of Beau's social media that you can get to. Check out his website, go over there and buy something. If you're looking, Christmas ain't that far away. Birthdays are coming for friends and your family. There's got to be people that would love a nice Disney piece to hang in their house. And this would be another Disney artist that you can definitely support. Here's a big announcement. You always know that I have something coming up. Jen and I will be interviewing an incredible person. I've talked a little bit about this on the show. What we're going to do is sit down with another author this time. James Warder will be in house, everybody. How does Disney do that? He wrote that with a Disney Imagineer. This book is incredible, talking about how Disney does things to make the magic. He will be here May 6th for an hour of dialogues with Jen and I. You don't want to miss this, because James has a big announcement. I gave a little insight on it on one of the Friday night shows. There's a little announcement of how the Pete McDivitt show will be tying in with this author, and a lot of good things to come in the future. I thank you once again for being here tonight. Join us Friday night on the show, on the Disney News and Merch show, will be a little bit later at 11 o'clock Friday night because of the NFL draft. A little bit later. Friday night, I have another Disney artist to make a major announcement about. We will be talking again about our friend, Mr. Joel Payne, come Friday nights. Thank you, everybody. It's been Dialogues, and it's been amazing to chat.